Thank you, Eliza. Welcome to this gathering hosted by the Unitarian Universalist Church of Bowling Green. Whether you are here or in person, we are so glad that you are joining us. My name is Christina Kruger, and I'll be your service associate today on this wonderfully warm and also June morning. Don't remember to please set your cell phones to silent so we can fully be present with each other. This service is being live streamed. If this room isn't comfortable for you, you can go to the Bailey Lounge next to the entrance of the building or across the way of the Fellowship Hall to watch. We are a welcoming congregation. Whoever you are, however you identify, wherever you came from, and whoever you love, you are welcome here. Our Sunday services are different each week so that we can honor and learn from our wide array of traditions and beliefs. Today, our speaker is Tim Mcgaughey, who will be speaking about awe, which I feel like we need a little more in our lives. For Unitarian Universalists, the flaming chalice is a symbol of the light of learning and the love of our community. As our congregation's chalice is lit, we invite you to light your own chalice at home. We light this chalice, symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith and the light of reason, the warmth of community, and the fire of justice. And today, let us also recognize as a symbol of the spark of wonder that resides in each of us. May we light this light guide us as we explore the deeps of awe. If you don't mind, please join me in Body Your Spirit and Rise Up, O Flame. Let us take a pause and take a moment to consider the vastness of the universe, the intricate beauty of a single flower, the profound connection we share with one another. Today we open ourselves to the experience of awe. Now please join and sing me with Rise Up, O Flame. Rise up, O flame. Our responsive reading is Wild Geese by Mary Oliver. You do not have to be good.
You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert protecting.
You only have to have the soft animal of your body love of what it loves.
Tell me about the weird one. Yours, and I will tell you mine.
Meanwhile, the world goes on.
Meanwhile, the sun and the clear petals of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers.
Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again.
Wherever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things.
All right, our first hymn is No Longer Forward Nor Behind. It's number 9 in your gray hymnal.
My grateful, take the good
Our mission is to be a caring community that encourages spiritual growth and actively works to improve our society and the environment. All right, it is time for our children's recessional so they can go off to their own service. So if they don't mind. Thank you. Go lift it up, yeah. Thank you. It's in the Till hymnal. I apologize. It's fine. We will now have a few moments for meditation, reflection, and prayer. The singing bowl will lead us into silence. After the silence, your advised joins the song Spirit of Life, which is hymn number 123 in the gray hymnal. The words will also be on the screen. As mentioned earlier, Unitarian Universalists have a wide array of beliefs, and the speakers at our Sunday services come from an array of many traditions. With us today to share their own thoughts is Tim Mcgaughey.
You can leave that up there. I'm not going to, most of you know who I am, and really the important thing for today's talk is that I was trained as a research psychologist, and the subject that we're going to be talking about today, awe, is really important. But I really felt before I even start that, I really need to give some thank yous to people, because today I've used a lot of help to get this prepared, and you have helped me do that. So let me thank the crew today for this work. I think this is more appropriate before I actually get into the topic. I want to thank the Sunday Service Committee for bringing me back a second time to get it right. And I want to thank all the people who've done the testimonials for me. It was great. I learned so much from you, and I've learned so much from a lot of you, because I got to talk to you, whether you wanted to participate or not, to tell me about your experiences, and it's really nice. I need to give a special thanks to Ryan for his help in terms of preparing it. And let me actually say something about the UU Church as a whole. The place, this is such a wonderful place because it allows you to flourish and receive ways of being creative that maybe you didn't think that would be possible, and be able to share that with all the group here. So I really want to thank all of you for this. So let's talk about awe. And let me see, I'm supposed to get the printer here. Thank you on that. And awe is a real interesting topic. Let me make sure I got that one right. Awe is a feeling, it seems, of being in the presence of something vast and something that transcends your current understanding. Transcends an interesting word, because it actually means to go across, and we have the word descend and ascend. It means to climb. So we're climbing up towards something that will give us, I think, as we go along, an extra understanding of the world and perhaps the beauty in that world. Now, the experience on the next, let's see here. So basically what happens is that you experience something grand, sublime, powerful, beautiful, and then you have a feeling of reverence. That feeling comes from within your body. How it gets there is really part of what I want to talk about today. But you'll feel admiration and sometimes fear, and for many people, they go on to have feelings of wonder, amazement, and humility. How wonderful would it be if more people could experience that? That's one of the reasons I got very interested in this topic. And we'll wait to hold on for a little bit more. So what we're going to do to get in touch with that is I'm going to shortly ask you to relax, and I would like for you to think of some time in your life where you were in awe, preferably something positive that happened to you. It can also be very negative. You'll hear certainly that's the case among the people giving testimonials. So basically what we're going to do. So I'd like to have you, first of all, just to get relaxed. Everybody, you can shake out your shoulders, you can move your legs, you can get really comfortable. And I'd like you to close your eyes. And I'm going to have you just breathe in and breathe out. And breathe in and breathe out. And breathe in and breathe out. And now I'd like you to think back to a time in which you felt awe. It might have been something, the sunset, it might have been a beautiful painting, it might have been a wonderful composition, musical. It could be so many different kinds of things. If you've never experienced awe or you just don't remember, today we're going to use your imagination and think of something that you would imagine would cause you awe. Think about that for just a moment, and I'm going to ask you to keep this in mind as we talk about the whole service today. And now, if you'll open up, we're going to listen to some testimonials.
And there was a lot of people in this park that we were at. And as soon as it was a total eclipse, it was the most amazing. That was the awe moment because you felt it, you heard the people around you oohing and ahhing, and you actually felt the temperature drop. You felt the quietness of nature or whatever, and it was the most spectacular awe moment that I can think of. It was just absolutely amazing. And
first was when I was about 5, maybe 6, and my mother took me to the public library in Mount Pleasant, Iowa. I was stunned. There were thousands upon thousands of books. I had no idea there were that many in the world. I had my collection of little golden books, but that was nothing compared to this. And the more I stood there and looked at it and realized what was going on, the more connected I felt with the books themselves and the people who had made them. From that point on, I was at the library at least twice a week, usually 3 or 4 times.
It was one evening in the springtime, and I stepped out of the car at Kroger's and looked up and saw a sunset and was just struck with the amazement of it. That was, I mean, there other times, as I look back, there's other times I realized, yeah, I've had that. But that's the first time that I really appreciation. I can still see it. It was just, wow. This is amazing.
And I also feel awe when I see people, particularly kids, make discoveries and grow. In particular, like I think of a time when somebody said something rude to my son when he was very little, and I felt this motherly protection of like, oh, that was rude. They shouldn't have said that, and like, oh, sweetie, I think they were just angry, and he actually just looked at me and said, you know, some days are like that for people. And the fact that he could shrug that off at like, I want to say he was like 3 or something, it was so astonishing for me to like think through, oh, like I don't need to swoop in. He's his own person.
I don't remember who saw it first, but somebody looked up and said, "What is that?" And then we all started looking up, and there were the strangest sets of lights that were up in the sky in the middle of pitch blackness, and they were moving around. They weren't stars. They were moving. And so they were kind of quickly rearranging themselves. And I didn't know what the world that was, and neither did anybody, but we were mesmerized by it, and we could not take our eyes off the sky.
Some of us in the lifelong learning program at WKU, we were fortunate enough to take a field trip out to one of the relatively new businesses at the Bowling Green Trans Park. It's called Crown, Cork, and Seal, and in this particular facility, they make aluminum cans. And even though I've been a part of the aluminum industry for years and retired from the aluminum industry, I have not been in very many can plants. This may have only been the 3rd can plant I was ever in. And I was just, everywhere I turned, it was so different because of computers and other automation things that have transpired since the last time I was in a plant. Even me, who is used to dealing with, in most cases, much larger machinery, using really big hammers, I was in awe of the finesse of their equipment in these cans and moving these cans. And it was magical.
About negative awe and positive awe. And I've come to realize that one of my experiences is both. When I was in Hawaii and saw Lahaina, it was, I call it Tinsel Town. It was completely silver, bright, sparkling silver, everything. It looked like a postcard. And I was awestruck. I couldn't breathe. I just was focused on it and couldn't unfocus from it. It was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And yet I knew that underneath was all the terror of all the people that died there. So it captivated me and wouldn't let me go.
We've talked about different types of awe. I mean, you can be in awe of someone standing speaking, in a meeting, a very pressure-filled meeting, and a colleague of yours gets up and speaks and hits it, hits the point very well, speaks very clearly. I've been in awe of someone like that they're able to command the moment. And I mean, I don't know that I get goosebumps like I would watching something that's humbling like a sunset, but it makes me look and shake my head and go, wow, that was something. That was really something.
During my undergraduate degree, I was able to walk Candide, Leonard Bernstein's masterpiece. There's this moment at the end of Make Our Garden Grow, where all of a sudden the whole choir and the whole orchestra suddenly drop out, and you just have the full vocal soloists kind of singing in harmony together. And it's just like, it sent shivers down my spine, and I felt that deep sense of awe. And it was just a powerful moment. I've been fortunate enough to experience several other moments like that during performances. I felt a sense of being connected with everyone in the room, with everyone on the stage, with everyone who had gone before. Like, it was such a sense of being very present in the moment, but also connected to a larger atmosphere, a much larger world than I can inhabit on my own. So it was that sense of being very present and also part of everything else is what made it feel all to me.
Well, when I interviewed people, you heard how much variation, even amongst most of the people here, and notice how everybody reacted. Almost everybody had a positive experience except for Deanie, who was at the fire and the terrible fire in Hawaii. And to be honest with you, I wasn't sure what she referred to until I came out by here and someone had burned the edges of the flame with a flamethrower to kill out the weeds, and it was all crystal. It was like tinsel, and I finally understood exactly what she meant and how beautiful it was, but the absolute horror that was underneath it. You could see it on her face. And the other thing, if you notice, we actually got to see Frank smile. So, so that is a wonderful, wonderful thing. Now, to finish this up, I actually want to tell you about something that happened to me because it was the oddest thing. I didn't understand it for almost 20 years, and doing the research to put this together, I was able to kind of understand it. 19 years ago, I was in Paris for a week, 9 days actually, and had a wonderful time. And I went to the Orsay Museum, which is a kind of extension of the Louvre, which is right across the river from it, and it has more modern art, a lot of a lot of people who've been painting since about the 1850s. And I had gone up because there's a whole gallery of Van Gogh. And I like Van Gogh, like a lot of people. I mean, he's one of our most popular painters now. I mean, people pay to go through exhibits through his paintings, not just see them, they actually do that. So getting to see his stuff, I thought, well, that's going to be really interesting. And I started to look, and I saw, by the way, just in terms of honesty, these are not all the pictures that are at the Orsay Museum, but this is my story, so I'm going to tell it the way I want to. These are pictures I would have loved to see, and they're really all from the last period of his life, 2 years before he died, including this portrait, and then we have some more paintings up here, Starry Night. We recognize the irises, and we have, let's see, there we go. And here we have rather famous painting. This is Dr. Mcgaughey. He actually was the physician who housed Van Gogh for the last few months of his life. And this painting was interesting because it was done very quickly within 2 months of his death, and he gave it to the doctor. And the doctor, supposedly, because he was actually involved, and I found out the story was apocryphal, but he had a rather interesting way of hanging his pictures. And supposedly he hung this picture in the chicken coop, but actually I found out that is not true. Now, just to think about this, to put this in perspective about it, let's see, okay, there we go. This is a copy of it. This painting sold in 1990 for, let me get my exact amount, and the reason I want to mention that, it sold for $82.5 million 100 years after Van Gogh died. He couldn't sell, he only sold one painting in his life. He was 37 when he killed himself. His career in art only lasted 10 years. And think about that in comparison to what you did when you were 37. And it's amazing to sort of see and understand that. And you can understand how the suffering that he went through, and yet he produced these beautiful, beautiful paintings. This is the picture that went for the 28 million, which was a record at the time. And this is a painting I would have loved to have seen. And many critics consider this the best. One of the best things that he did, he actually, this is crows in the cornfield, and many critics consider this to be the best painting that he did. It really forecast, and this literally was just done days before he shot himself. So basically, this is the room that I was in, and I had decided that I wanted to go and see more. So I ended up going, and I thought, oh, I'm going to go back and stand back at the back of the room, and I can see all these paintings. And I'd seen each one individually, but I really wanted to go back. But this is what I saw. It's just absolutely crowded. The room, you couldn't see. And I'm looking and I'm thinking, all I can see is the back of the room. And then I started to cry, literally. Tears leaking out. I wasn't emotional. I didn't even know exactly what was happening. Actually, I looked up the ventilation system. I thought I'd see smoke, like a James Bond kind of thing where everybody comes, they're going to steal the painting, so they gas everybody. They fall to the floor. But nobody else there was no smoke. Nobody else was dabbing their eyes. So I decided, I don't know what's going on. So I decided that I would go to eat some lunch. Whenever in doubt, food is always a good thing. As you can tell from my figure, I've been in doubt a lot. So this is what I think most of us think happen. And the reason I'm talking about this is not just to educate you about this, but I think if we understand, as I did, we can use this information to actually harness some of what's built into us. And so basically, Mr. Vitruvian Man, a friend of came, and he went to see Starry Night. Now, the way this, I think most of us think, is we see this, and then the guy comes up, and it comes into our head, and then you get really happy, and then this feeling spreads, and it comes all over, and you go through that. I think that I had never even thought much about it until this odd thing happened to me about crime. So I then wanted to find out decide what I was going to do. After lunch, by the way, I went back in the room and I started crying again. And I thought, what is this? And so for the last 19 years, I bring up the story, tell people about it. And I've come to a couple of conclusions that I want to share on here. So basically, let's consider what happens when you go in here. I'm going to step into this for just a second. You know, basically, it seems like awe is very much like a startle. It's built into us. The startle is built actually into our hindbrains because we share it with many animals. All mammals have this startle. The startle is you hear a sudden bang or noise, or you see something, you immediately will raise your head and turn toward the stimulus. It happens with mice, it happens with dogs, it happens with human beings. We all do this. It's built into us. And I think that basically that's what awe is. So we see one of the things is, unlike the startle response, which is controlled by the autonomic system, that is the system that operates all of our internal work so we don't have to think about it, blood pressure, keeping our heart going, keeping peristalsis moving through our bodies, all those internal processes that you don't want consciousness to take care of. So basically, the awe seems to be really a function of the parasympathetic nervous system, which controls the rest and digest. When people are that, normally they get a little more mellow because you've got a full belly. You can go in, and that slowing is really an important function here. And let's see. And we get also changes. And this is actually one of the most interesting and ties in with a lot of people's experience. Scientists in the last 20 years have discovered that there's a certain nervous system, a system of interaction of various brain systems that create what they call the default mental network. And basically, that just is set on, so it always talks about trying to solve problems, trying to get you out. How can you get past the road and past a slow driver? What are you going to get Aunt Hazel for her birthday? All these kinds of things that you're thinking about. And so basically, when you go into awe or you experience it, that portion of your brain goes inactive because you're concentrating, your focus is on whatever you're looking or hearing and doing. And so it really makes a great deal of difference. Plus, I think it also relates to those feelings of being humble, that is, being involved. And so, and it becomes pretty important. And we see that other things, the goosebumps, we'll have chills. I think a lot of that is a function of the vagus nerve basically slowing everything down. And so some of those are the internal reactions in there. We see changes in breathing. We get a whole bunch of different things. But one thing about awe, it's always affecting our physiology. That's how it goes. Now, on the psychological standpoint, we see that awe is very healthy for us. It slows us down. It counteracts all of that high-speed life that we live. Psychologically, we feel maybe more humble. We feel smaller. We feel more connected to other people. We promote feelings of generosity and helping others, and time seems to slow down. Now, when I really began to research, I looked at that, and I thought, that would make a wonderful UUer. Look at them. They come in, they are feeling generous, they want to help others, they're feeling connected. Isn't that one of our principal values? So if we can connect with the awe, if there's a way to do it, and I think there is, we can experience these things. And in order for me to explain this, I have to bring up one other topic. I know this sounds like your intro psychology class, but the Gestalt psychologists dealt with perception, and they often deal with figure ground. And I don't know, it's probably here you can really see the general, but if you look up here, let's see if I can get my, oh wait a minute, let's come back here. Sorry, here we go. Let me get back here. Sorry, there we go. And there we go. Sorry, you can see that most of you probably see the general. Here's his hand, coat, here's his shawl, but actually it's really a woman holding a bunch of straw. There's a man holding, it looks like a native, and this is a dog. So the thing that's so important, the reason I'm bringing it up, is because of the way our brains are built. You can either see one thing as a figure, but while you're doing it, you can't see any others. You can't hold two figures in your head at the time, or if you've ever played the game where I'm going to try to see both the ground, that is the background, and the figure, the main thing you're looking at the same time, you find it's really impossible to do it. We're just not built that way. And what I realized when I saw this, I was using the people. That's what my figure was. I was concentrating on that. I knew there were pictures behind it, but I was just sort of, there were so many people around, I looked at them. And what I had really wanted to see was this, the people sort of disappear into the shadows, and you can actually see the paintings, but that's not what happened. And that played a very important role in terms of what I felt and what we can feel when we have awe going. Let me get here. So now we've got the Vitruvian man, but he's sort of in this model. He's got both his head where his brain is. That's the brain that controls all these things. And over there is the balloon. That's your mind. That's your consciousness. It floats around like a bit and observes what's going on, but it doesn't necessarily go. And so what happens here is it comes in, we get this stimulus that comes into the head. The head says, wow, we're seeing something beautiful. And then it comes down, and the feelings come back up. Let's see, we lost our fella here. Come back. And finally, up here, we see that we're really happy. We're happy because all our other cues have told us. So our consciousness is just trailing along. You're observing it like you were somebody else. And that is a real key, I think, in understanding how we can use it. And here, these illustrations have been done by my son-in-law and daughter-in-law, and they put me in at my current age back in Paris, so I guess that's going to be it. But the important thing here is that experiencing awe is largely a result of our autonomic nervous systems. Our cognitive experience colors it. If it's really, you see a beautiful painting, that's beautiful, you hear a beautiful piece of music. But when you're standing in the middle of the beach and you see a 50-foot wave coming for you, you're going to feel awe, but you're going to run like the hell to get out of there, because your cognitive brain, your consciousness can evaluate the situation and give you meaning on it. And that's the other thing here, which I found fascinating, is that it looks like awe is older than human beings. Jane Goodall had, here's this, had written extensively about primates experiencing what she called awe. And she had talked about primates, basically chimpanzees in the Gombe area of the Congo. And when they come up to waterfalls, like heavy waterfalls, or it could be rain, they start dancing. They literally start dancing. And she's talked about other cases where seeing some primates transfixed by a beautiful moon, just like you and I would be. So this is not only older than us, but it goes down further in the family tree, if indeed all of these are true. So if you believe, if you want to think that you have more of a theistic idea, it'd probably be very easy to say that God has given you the ability to perceive beauty. And I'm using beauty now, not just in the physical sense, a beautiful painting, but in some of the things that we see, like vast cities, which often cause it, or we see it in a handsome, large tree. But I think many of us will use beauty as a means. And for today, I'm going to skip being in the, just talking about this and really understanding what is happening. So all as a result, basically, let's go to our next slide here. And basically, why is all of this important? Again, it can shift our perspectives, which is a great thing. Most of us are looking for that. It can reduce our sense of importance. It would humble us. How nice to have some people who are a little bit more humble in, say, our government or in our leadership. It reduces our sense of self-importance. It increases our connection to others. It's often perceived as beauty. So now, if I have convinced you that, in fact, this is a thing, I'd like to talk about how we can seek awe out, because that's really the point that I got excited about. Now, the title of this was Awe is Entering the Mystery of Life, but I think I should have chosen, this is the title, which is Awe, Experiencing the Beauty of Life, because I found almost everything that's given me awe, I describe to you, if I were just talking about, as being beautiful. Music, plays, artwork, seeing certain things, and that it makes it really nice. Now, before I go on, just expanding on this, let me make a comment. Sometimes I think when I've heard talks here and other places, they sound like, well, that's really good if you're middle class, if you have money, if you're, if life's going well for you. But the point I really want to make is that if you are feeling downtrodden, downhearted, that you're feeling lonely or you're feeling sick, all is still available to you. It is, if you will, God-given. And the way that we do this is often by seeking out new experiences. Novelty seems to be an important thing. And we want to, and there are ways that we can do it. I don't want to spend much time talking about this, but I do have to tell you one thing. I thought, well, you know, I'm telling people if they can get a hold of something that would cause them all, like a piece of music, well, can you listen to it, and will it continue, or do you just get bored with it and you go, or especially a piece of music, it turns into an earworm and you just listen to it for the rest of the century? Most of these all walks, the mindfulness, really lets us try to see the world in different ways. And I think as adults, someone was saying earlier, Christina was saying that, you know, as we get to be adults and into it, we don't see it. Because a lot of our lives, we're living in the same conditions, so there's very little novelty. So we have to go out and find it. What I did was, let's see, today I would have been in the last 5 months, I have listened to a piece of music that causes me awe. That's the fourth movement of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. That's all the big choir. They sound like the angels themselves are coming down to earth. And I find that I've listened to that probably a good 100 to 120 times in the last 5 months. And I have not gotten sick of it. As a matter of fact, the more I'm after it, the more moved. I've now gone from just getting chills to, by the time I'm through, I'm crying by the end of the piece, because I have listened. But music offers that chance for novelty. Other things are harder to do. One thing that I've read that works very easy, you have to go back and be like a kid. You remember when you like a telescope? Well, if you're going out into a big environment or into a new environment, that can very much help you see it in different ways, just taking a part of it. Tall trees are that. But today, I really want to tell you what I'm excited about, and that is we can recall all. We are human beings. We have imagination. We have our memories. And frankly, one of the things I found is that almost everybody can remember the awe. When I asked them in detail, like when I talked to my friend Tom and he's in the library talking about it, he's 5 years old. And he's able to, that is stuck in his memory. And almost everybody has very distinct memories of it. So you can recall it. But the secret is you've got to tell that story. And I think you do have to do it in person. I did it a lot. Almost all the interviews I did were over interviews over Zoom. And I don't think anybody got that. But I know listening to, when I was in the same room with people, I found it more exciting. So what I'd like you to do today is to tell somebody else, we're all going to be eating together, pick somebody, ask them about their experience of awe, and then I want for them to ask you about your experience, and I want you to share it. And I may end up coming by, because I really want to hear if you found this, if not to re-experience the awe, but to feel the pleasure of it, because you saw everybody's face on there, that while they were remembering it, they looked like one happy bunch of people. So it was really good. And then afterwards, examine how you felt. Did you share some of the same things? Did you like that? Did you like sharing your experiences? And so in closing today, I would really like to have you do this. But as I thought, if we're talking about beauty, I said, that strikes me as familiar. And then I remembered everybody's favorite high school poem, John Keats' Ode to On a Grecian Urn. But his last two lines are very interesting, especially in what we've talked about today. And that is, here's what we were going to do, and then we did. Beauty is truth, truth beauty. That is all ye know on earth, and that is all you need to know. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim, for that awe-inspiring topic. And that made me think, so since we're sharing, I thought of one I could think of, because I was always a lifelong choir geek. And I've done music throughout most of my life, into my adulthood, and we've done a lot of stuff from Mendelssohn to Vivaldi stuff. But that's that feeling of being on stage with that performance, the music's playing, and you hear your fellow people on the side, that feeling of awe, like you've done this work together to get to this music. And it just made me think, like, wow, we did this, and it's so cool, and it's amazing. All right, if you have questions about Unitarian Universalism or about joining our congregation, please speak with a member of the membership team, and a few of them there. You can also email at membership@uucbg.org. Also, we are having a Q&A session on June the 8th, so if you have more questions, feel free to join us at the round table for more information. This congregation is supported, and the work we do is supported by the voluntary generosity of all who contribute. The offering is a sacrament of the free church. You may place your donation in the plate as it passes along, or on your way out, or the QR codes that are on the screen, or donate via our website, or mail checks directly to our office. As we enjoy the music, the offering will be given and received in grateful appreciation of our shared hopes and values. We thank you for these gifts. May we use them wisely in the service of our congregation and our community. So we do have a little bit of community news. So today at UUCBG, the free workshop of dance will be meeting in the Opitz room at the Fellowship Hall at 1:15. Everyone is welcome to come and dance. Also this month, we are looking for theater kids and drama kings and queens and kings to be in a 20-minute play that will be part of the Sunday service on June 29th. The Reverend Adenia Oliva will be coordinating it. She's on deployment in the London Somerset area today. Will be back for the rest of June to get the service well granted. So if you'd like to be a star, then please contact her. It's also Potluck Sunday, so you're please welcome to join us in the Fellowship Hall to have a nice lunch. And as always, you can find more community news by reading the weekly updates and the monthly newsletter. Here at church, you can look at the bulletin boards and screen in the lobby. Also, our website and our Facebook page and Facebook groups are always available online. If you don't mind to... all right. So please rise in spirit and body for our final hymn, which is To See the World, hymn number 398. This morning, Kay Witt will give our final reading.
Feel that? Each breath, every intake, exhale. We are living, breathing, connected. We are the whole, complete, beautiful selves that we are born to be. Feel that in your bones, in your muscles, in your heart, in your blood. That is the extraordinary you, the you who was born for this time, this place, this moment. Feel that, the struggle, the worry, the pain, the loss, the grief. It is still you. You are still whole, complete, beautiful, extraordinary. Feel that.
Thank you, Kay. We bid farewell to those who have joined us online. Go in peace and go in awe.